It has a look of something. Probably not the best placement of the two small flowers. Hello, we're back with stool number 3. I've done 1, and that's a sunflower stool. 2 is a Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos stool. And the 3rd stool is going to be an amigurumi stool. So I'm going to take this stool and I'm going to make it into something amigurumi. It has been fun trying to figure this out. Also, it's been a little bit not fun because it's a little much, to be honest, because I'm having to take something small and make it bigger and then take the flowers and have them be a part of this whole creation. And part of this creation is including something I don't like a lot, but I ended up liking more than I thought I would. That is until I've had to sew it on. I haven't done that part, so my feelings may change very quickly. But as of now, I really enjoyed making one of these things that I normally hate making. Do y'all know what it might be? Any guesses? You probably don't have any guesses because I haven't given you really any clues. Well, your first clue is this is the green stool. I can't show it to you because right now I have a bunch of stuff pinned to it, and because I'm not organized, I forgot to take photos before I did that, and I'm too lazy to unpin all this to show you the stool plain because that's not gonna happen because that's a whole lot of work of repinning that when I already have it pinned. I don't want to do it again. And I apologize for you not getting to see a naked stool. But I think you kind of understand what the naked stools look like because they're in another video. I'll link that one somewhere here. And I know you're saying, wow, Cindy, you just have my mind just in a quandary. What is it going to be? We are making, wait for it. We're pausing for effect. Okay, the effect is, I'm finished waiting for that. We're making a turtle. It's going to be so cute. We're going to take the green stool and we're putting little things on it and it's going to be a turtle. Doesn't that sound fun? Can you picture it? Can you picture the little green stool as a turtle? Are you envisioning that now? And are you also thinking, how in the world are you going to do that? Well, the way we're going to do that is we are going to be using something that is very popular right now with so many crochet people, and it is hexagons. We are making a bunch of hexagon squares. We're then going to sew your beautiful flowers on the hexagons. We're then going to sew the hexagons onto the stool and make it a turtle shell. And there will be a spot for a head and a tail. I'm not making arms and legs though. Those are going to be the legs that are already on the stool. I'm not going to do that. Just a head and a tail is all we're going to do, and then make the stool part look like a shell. Can you see my vision? Everything is pinned as of now except for me making the head and the tail. Everything else is done except for sewing. It can be so much sewing, so much of that. These are the hexagons. I have made the hexagons in 3 colors, and this is all Skein Tones yarn from Lion brand. I think it's Lion brand. I bought it a long time ago, but I am so proud of myself. I have used up so much yarn. Also, I've just finished buying a whole lot of yarn to replace what I've just used up. I didn't succeed real well in not buying a whole bunch of yarn this year. I didn't succeed, but I've bought less than I have in previous years. Definitely done that. I made a bunch of these. These are the extras because I ran out of this particular color, so that's why I had to add new colors to make it all work because I didn't have any more of this. After I made the other ones, I didn't need these anymore, so that's why there's extra. Does that make sense? Okay, let me get the stool and I'll show you the vision. It's a beautiful vision. It really is. Un momento, por favor. I still have some lingering Dia de los Muertos going on in here. Little lingering Spanish. I took Spanish for 2 years, and I'm going to be honest, I really cheated my whole way through year 2 because I had a horrible teacher. Nobody in my class was going to pass unless we cheated off of this one girl. She's the only one who seemed to really care about the grade. And for us to pass, we needed her to care. And she did. And she was really nice. And our teacher was not a good teacher, and she never noticed all of us were cheating. Every last one of us. And I feel terrible now, but really, she was a terrible teacher. You need somebody who really is good at that language to teach it to you, and she wasn't that. I have un poquito knowledge from back then because I cheated a lot. What I do know was from Spanish 1, not Spanish 2. I'm sorry. Y'all think less of me now, don't you? It's okay. It's all right. I understand. I think less of me too, if that helps. I was mostly a really good student, except for Spanish 2. Just hated that class. Here it is. You see the turtle? You see it? These are its little things on its shell. There's a name for those little things, but I can't remember the name of the little things. But these are them. And I have tried to do like pinks and purples here on the top, and then whites and blues down here at the bottom. And the majority of the flowers that are on this stool are cotton flowers. Not all of them, but most of these are cotton or a blend. And these were all just the right size. And there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of sewing. I have already sewn some of the flowers onto some of the hexagons, but I've sewn none of the hexagons onto the stool. That's what we're going to be doing today. Now over here, this flower right here, this is going to be the head. This is just holding the place of where the head is going to be. And I needed to be able to put my little things all around here and know where the head was going to go, to know how these little pieces down here were going to be. As you will notice, it's not all hexagons. Some of them are little squares. Look, it's little squares, because I didn't know how to make the hexagon shape work throughout. And that's why that is, because I didn't know how. I think it ended up giving it some depth. I tried to keep all the little hexagons within the shades of brown. So there's dark brown, a medium brown, and like a beige. And I think they came out really cute. I love the flowers on this one. I just think it's so pretty. Now over here, these two little squares, I've turned them to where they look like diamonds, and that's because this is going to be where the tail goes. There's going to be a little bitty tail that's going to stick out from right here. And these are just to mark that for me, but these will be staying here. But this little hole, that's for a tail. So the goal for today is we're going to be sewing a lot. We're going to be sewing flowers to the hexagons and the squares. We are then going to sew those onto the stool / shell, because you know, I've explained that, right? And then I'm also in the process of making, just a second. This is the turtle head. And I have had to do this off camera for several days because this is cotton and it's double stranded and it's killing my hand. So I am just having to go a little bit at a time to finish this up. So this is actually a snake head, and it is from this book, Amigurumi Made Easy by Mariska Vos Bolman. And this is really a very cute book. The patterns are really well written. I would definitely say this is more of an advanced beginner book, but it's really a good one if you're looking for some really cute but simple patterns with just a little bit of detail. That's what these are. I really like this book a whole lot. This was the only book I could find in my vast collection, which y'all, it's really a huge collection of books that had the head that I'm looking for. So I'm going to be working on this, and this yarn doesn't match perfectly, but this was as close as I could get to this kind of neon green. And this is, I love this cotton from Hobby Lobby, and really it is very nice cotton. Y'all know I don't like cotton. For amigurumi, it is some hard stuff to work with if it is too thick and too stiff. But this hasn't been too bad. The only reason it's so bad right now is because I'm having to double strand this. If I wasn't double stranding it, it wouldn't be as miserable. But because I'm double stranding, I'm only doing a single stitch. It's tight, so my hands hurt. Originally, I was thinking I was going to paint these legs, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I'm just going to leave them this natural wood color, because if I paint them and say the paint chips at some point and somebody else having to match it, I think it's going to be a bigger issue. So these are just going to stay this natural wood color. I looked up a bunch of different stools that were animals that people had made, just like a stuffy kind of stool, and a lot of them just leave the stools with the plain legs. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm copying that because we already know I copy well. I copy well enough to pass Spanish too. I got this down. I'm going to go ahead and get started sewing more of these flowers on these squares and sewing some squares on, just so I can feel like I've accomplished something versus looking at all this here. This is just kind of making me itchy. This is so much yarn threads. I keep stepping on it because the stool is normally on the floor here in this room, and I'm moving around because it's not a big room. And I'm moving around and I'm stepping on these things and it's pulling them down, and I need to handle this situation is what is going to be happening. For those of you who are brand new to the reason why I'm doing all of these stools, it is because I am making them to be auctioned off for a charity, and I will put a link to that charity down below. It's for blind and visually impaired children in the state of Texas, and the auction is coming up soon. One of these stools is going to the charity dinner, and the others are going to be auctioned off on a website that I will put more information about here on my channel when it gets a little bit closer and I finish all these darn stools. After this, we only have 2 more to go. Y'all want to know why I might be looking more fresh and maybe relaxed, or maybe I just look older because I need to get my hair done, which is happening tomorrow. But if I look more perky, more smiley, you want to know why? My children went back to school yesterday. I loved that so much. I miss them. I really do. I miss them. But also my grocery bill was kind of high, and my furniture was starting to stink because they're on it a lot in the summertime, and they're kind of hot and sweaty. But they started school and I get my routine back. I am definitely a creature of habit, and I like things the way I like them. And when I don't know what's happening and what things are coming every day, like what happens in the summertime, I don't do well. I do well with a very structured and fine-tuned calendar, which I have back in my life again. I love that. I love that so much. I hope they have a wonderful year. So far, things are going well, but I'll tell you who's happiest, and it's me, their mother, that they are back with other people for a little while. I love being able to share my children like that. I feel like it's a gift that I can give back to the world. Between the eye rolls, the attitudes, and children suddenly calling you instead of mom, yo, dude, or my man. I'm not a man. I miss being mom. I have lost that title. I am hey, dude, or yo, bro. I miss just being mom. And now they can talk to other people and call them those names. And usually by the end of the day, they come home and they remember I'm mom, not bro. Now the pattern for all of these little hexagons, I got it somewhere for free online. I don't remember where. It was really easy though. It's a really easy pattern, and then I just kind of tweaked it for a square. And that's just a granny square. Those patterns are everywhere for free, so I don't have a specific pattern to give you other than to tell you to go online and look for a free granny square pattern, and you'll find it. They're super duper easy for just a plain Jane one, which is all I wanted. I wanted plain Jane because it's going to be hidden behind a flower, and hopefully I will sew the flower on the square correctly, which I just didn't do. I didn't do that just now. But now I am. You know, I can't talk and sew real well at the same time. And I'll be doing the same with these as I have done all the other flowers. I'm gonna sew on, and I'm also gonna glue on, just for extra security and to keep the shape kind of flat and smooth. It's almost like blocking. It behaves like blocking, kind of, when you sew them on and glue them. They just flatten out real well. All the flowers are now sewn on, all the hexagons and the little squares on the turtle. Now I get to sew those onto the turtle. So there's just more sewing. Yay! Just a few. Let's see. There's, 7, 30 squares or hexagons to sew onto this. Just 30. I'm going to go ahead and get started because it's going to take a little bit. I'm also going to lower my table now and sit because I've been standing a little while, and in my world, my very tiny brain, I consider standing exercise. I'm done exercising and I'm going to sit down now because you have to take breaks. I'm taking an exercise break. I'm gonna sit down now. This is better. I don't feel as exhausted from my exercise from earlier. This is better. We all need to kind of pace ourselves and take breaks as needed, and the best way I know to do that is just to sit down. I think my table's still too tall. Due to the high nature of the screwed in legs, I am kneading my table at the very lowest it can go, and I'd like to unscrew my legs, but I am needing the stability that these screwed in legs provide. And with all these strings hanging down and all these needles in here, I think I'd get hurt if I were to unscrew at this point in the game. You gotta know when to screw them and know when to not to. We're gonna just leave these alone. I shouldn't have said that. I'm just gonna do what I know how to do, and that's sew. I know how to sew real good. Let's start there and just let me shut up for a little while. I'm finished sewing the flowers, and that took approximately 3 hours of my life to sew all those on there. But I think my effort was worth it. I think it's very cute, and once I get the head and the tail on there, it's going to be real cute, and you'll actually see why it looks the way it does. But I did find one problem that I did, and it is a little bit of a problem, but let me show it to you. Just a second. Here's the stool, and it's really pretty and bright and colorful. Now this spot right here that's open, this is going to be for the turtle's head. And back here, these two little spots right in between there, that's going to be for the tail. But here's the problem. Those look a little bit like areolas, I think. And then once I put a tail in between these, it's going to look like something else. Hopefully, I'm going to be the only one that's going to notice that, and all of y'all that I just told that to. It's not super noticeable, right? When I put a tail between the two areolas, it's not going to be super noticeable about what I think it's going to look like, is it? I think it is. Hopefully, though, this is a clean-minded individual that's going to get this, and they won't notice. Unless it's one of y'all, and like I said, you watch this, then you're going to know. And that's all you're going to be able to see. But try to not to. Try to not see that, because it's a tail. That's all it is. A tail. That's it. It does nothing else but be a tail. And I'm not moving the areolas to change it up because they're glued on and they're sewn on, and I'm not moving them. Those were the right flowers for those particular little crocheted squares. I didn't have any others that were going to fit on there like that. I didn't notice that they were going to look like that till afterwards, though. After I'd spent 3 hours sewing everything on. But it's going to be fine. I hope. We're just going to think positive about it. Though I guess to some people that is positive. But I don't know. I'm trying not to be 12. I'm trying so hard to not to be 12. But oh, I'm 12. I apologize. But overall, the stool is really cute, right? Look at that. I'm turning the areolas away from you now. See, look at everything. It's super cute. And this pretty purple flower on top. It's almost like it's a lily pad up there on top. But no, they're turtle shell things. Like turtle shells somethings. And once the other pieces get on there, it's going to be real different and hopefully cute. Fingers crossed. Now I have to finish crocheting the turtle head. And I was originally going to do it to where the neck curved and everything, but honestly, I am running short on time and I don't have time to figure all the maths out on that. I'm just gonna have a neck that attaches to this and to the head, and we're gonna do it that way. And it's not gonna be a super long neck, simply because if it's super long, then his head's gonna start to droop. That's gonna be real bad considering where his tail is at. We don't want that on both sides, right? We don't want that. So we want it to kind of be like this way, right here. So I'm gonna finish making this. I'm almost at the end. I'm just doing the decreases, and I'm gonna add the eyes, and then we'll do the tail. Those won't take very long. We are in the home stretch of this baby. Oh, so I have more bubbly water. I have a lot. I drink it a lot. I drink it like people drink sodas. I drink bubbly water. It's the bubbles on my tongue. I like the way it feels. That's the addiction. Also, for some reason, drinks in a can, they are so cold, and it's wonderful when you are not at all cold like I am right now. I'm not at all cold. And then this treats the coldness because I got what I affectionately refer to as hot mouth here at my house. That sounds so bad, but but that's what we call it when my mouth is hot and I don't want to eat hot foods. I only want cold foods. I tell Zach I have hot mouth, and he knows exactly what that means. It's my mouth is hot. I'm gonna shut up and drink my drink. Now it's time to put in the eyes. So I have chosen whatever this size is. I don't know. I think it's 30, maybe, I don't know. The bags are never marked. And I am not organized enough to remember what I ordered, because usually I order everything in multiples, in groups of sizes. So I don't know, but these are the eyes I'm using. They're big. That's why I think they're 30. I'm just going with what I think is going to look good. So I'm going to do these along with, these have little glitter colors that I can put with it. I think I'm going to go with this copper color because there's so many browns on here. So I'm going to go with that color. And now these are going to be a booger to get in there because these posts are so big. But we're just going to try not to cuss on camera, and it's going to be okay. I'm very right. It's gonna be hard to get these suckers in here. All right, so there's that one. Of course, I don't like the first hole that I put it into. That's not gonna look right. It needs to be closer in. So now there's a big hole there. Let me try again. That really looks like a snake in those positions. So I'm gonna bring them up higher. This is the position that the pattern said to put them in, but it really looks like a snake with them right there, and I don't like that. I don't want it to look like a snake. I want it to look like a turtle, so I think they need to be higher for that. So I'm just going to guesstimate a spot and try to match them up. I think that's better. It looks a little bit like a frog, but I'm going to be putting eyelids on this guy, so hopefully that'll help. They're still not exactly even, so I'm going to play with them a little bit. Once I get the head stuffed and the eyelids go on, it'll look more turtle-like. We hope. And now I've got these huge stoppers to put on here, and I would not be able to get these on with my fingers. So I am going to use my safety eye jigs. If y'all have never used one of these, I put the back on my eye, and then I put the stem into one of these holes, and then I press real hard. And you'll hear clicks when you know it's right. So there's one. You have to use quite a bit of force on these when they're this large. Remember when I said how hot I was? It's still true. I'm hotter now, honestly, because I just had to exert a lot of force to get that on there. Talk about exercise being hard today. It's hard today. Now it's time to stuff it. And like I've shown you before, I keep my fiberfill in a laundry basket. It's the perfect size for the 5-pound bags. So that's what this is. And this is gonna take a lot of stuffing. And then right here in the middle, I'm gonna use my scraps and I'm gonna stick them in here. Whenever I use scraps in my pieces, I always try to mix them in with the fiberfill because sometimes they might show through, but if you mix them up a little bit, you don't see them. This head is very snake-like. In the pattern, it actually has you start to close it up down here. I'm actually gonna make it a little bit longer so it's a little bit more rounded than this, because it really does look like a snake and I really don't want it to look exactly like a snake. I do like this kind of pointedness to the face. I did want that, but it just needs a little bit more length down at the bottom. So we're gonna do that. The turtle's head is finished and I think it's gonna be a good size. It's gonna go right about here. I just have to make the neck and the tail still. To make it more turtle-esque, I've also made eyelids that I'm gonna be sewing on because I just want it to have kind of like that sleepy, sweet look with all these flowers on it. I will be sewing those on and then starting on the neck and the tail. We are almost done. Am I excited? Yes. Yeah, but you know, it's a nice sense of accomplishment after each one of these that I see the end result because it is worth it. It is. But man, it's a lot getting to the end. It's a lot of work. If I could just bring my visions down just a hair. But I'm extra. I'm so extra. And it's a problem. This is an ongoing issue. I don't think it's gonna be solved anytime soon. Oh my goodness. The eyelids really did it. They really did it for me. Oh, it looks like a turtle now. It has a turtle head. It's gonna sit right there. It's gonna be so cute. I love it. I love it. Now I've just got to do the neck and the tail. So that's the next part. I can do this. I think I can. I think I can. I can do this. We're in the home stretch. Well, I got the tail on, but I think there's a little problem. I don't have any other options though because things are glued and sewed on and what's done is done. But it has a look of something. Probably not the best placement of the two small flowers. It kind of looks like a bird's beak, just not completely. It also looks like something else. Oops, it is sewn and glued on, so it's gonna look like a bird thing and something else a little bit. You know, we have to remember, people are gonna be looking this way at this sweet face. They're not gonna be back here admiring what is in the back. They're gonna be looking in this sweet turtle's eyes. I hope. I really hope they don't look back here often. I guess we can look at this as the 12-year-old me just strikes again and again and again. I really didn't mean for it to strike right there. I really didn't mean for that to be the case, but it's the case. I'm sorry. By the way, if you want to hit the like and subscribe button, right now's a good time. Please don't hit the unsubscribe. But I understand if you do. This might be a turnoff. I get it. I get it. But if it wasn't, like and subscribe, please. Thanks. As you can see, it's a different day. It's actually been a different day several times in this video because this guy is taking me some time and I keep making mistakes and I don't realize it till things are sewn on. And yesterday, I thought I was finished. I really did. I thought, we're done. And evidently we weren't done. And it wasn't me who noticed why we weren't done with the turtle. It's because my husband noticed that the tail and the head weren't right. Basically, it was like the turtle. You know how dogs are real happy when you get home and they kind of make a letter C and they're just wiggling like that and they make little shapes? Well, my turtle was curled like that, so its tail was almost like by its shoulder. And that was wrong. It was probably a good thing that he noticed that because, as you know, the tail was in a strange placement. It looked more like what we're going to call a woodpecker's face. Probably emphasis on one of those words a little bit more than another, or actually you could emphasize both. We're not going to emphasize both. We're just going to say it's a bird's face because I'm changing that. It can't be a woodpecker. We can't use that. I can't look at you right now. I decided I can't in good conscience give what was on the tail end of the turtle, admittedly it also being in the wrong place, to somebody. I just couldn't do that. That's just wrong. They aren't going to want that. I don't want them to have that. This is for a charity. That can't be on there. It's really good that Zach noticed that that was a problem. So last night I had to start taking pieces apart to figure out how I can shift things to get the tail behind the head instead of the shoulder like it should be. But the problem with that is that I'm having to change the pieces, and that's a little bit of my issue. But I can now show you the head sewn on. It's real cute. It's sewn on there. I'm trying to decide if it needs a mouth. I don't know. I'm really weird about mouths. If it doesn't really do something good for the creature, I don't think it needs it. And I don't think this one needs a mouth. I think I would do it wrong and it would look worse. I got the neck on here. I am considering making like either a ribbon bow or crocheting a bow to put here and kind of hide the neck seams because I hate neck seams. I just really hate them. So I usually am always doing something to hide a neck seam. I'm probably going to be making something to not see this. That's a strong possibility. Back here in the rear of our turtle, which would be about right here, this is where the tail needs to go. But I have this really big space from where I had to take off other pieces. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is I have one of the small little flowers right here. I'm going to use this one to go over here on this side. But then I think I need, let's see, I just have these half spaces then. You see, I have this little half space. So I don't know whether I'm going to just do, I still have a square. If I'm going to put a bigger square right here and a bigger one right here, or if I need half a hexagon to go in those places. I'm just trying to decide. So that's what I'm going to do today, and then we're going to be finished with this sucker. Yay. This one has honestly been the hardest one out of all of them, and I thought this one would really be the easiest. It's not. This turtle isn't the easiest one. I really didn't foresee as many issues with this as I've had, because I haven't told you all of them, but there have been issues with this one. Overall, I think it's going to be really cute once it's done, and we don't have a bird's face on the back end anymore. That's really good. Nobody needs that. No one, including me. I don't need that hanging over my head. I don't need that on my conscience. That's a little bit too 12-year-old even for me. And that's saying something, as y'all know. That's going down in the depths, and I'm not even comfortable going down there. That sounded bad too. This is the perfect time to shut up. So I am. So I've gotten this sewn on. There's two kind of open spaces right here, but I think we're just gonna have to leave them open because if I put more stuff right here, we're gonna have the woodpecker problem. We don't need that again. So leaving this space avoids woodpecker issues. Now I just need to sew the tail on, and it's gonna kind of go under here. Like there is a flower right there, and it's covering up something else that could be right there around the tail. I'm not gonna say what it is because you know what it is, and we're trying to not say those things. But that's what that is. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put this together, and then I think we're just about done. Yay, because I've resewn things on here so many times, and I'm over it. I'm really and truly meaning that. I'm so over it. Okay, she's all done. Here she is. Her head's a little sideways, and I did end up putting a bow on her. Whoever gets this can take the bow off. I personally just hate a neck seam, so I put this bow on here, but whoever gets this can certainly take it off. Look at her tail. There's no woodpecker bird thing back there. It's normal, just a flower over it. I think it kind of detracts from the fact that the tail is a different color than the rest of the stool because they're different yarns, but I think it ended up looking really cute. I'm kind of proud of her. I don't care if I did think this up all on my own. I am a little impressed with myself, and I got to showcase this purple flower. So whoever sent in this one, I absolutely love this flower, but they're all beautiful on here. So hopefully somebody who enjoys turtles will get this one. And her name is Myrtle. Myrtle the turtle. She is, of course, a cousin to Yertle the turtle. They are from different ponds, as would be expected. I mean, Yertle was from way back in like the 50s or 60s, I think, and Myrtle is from this century. Myrtle loves greens, like the vegetables. She enjoys those and stopping to smell the flowers because they remind her of herself. She might be slightly self-centered, but she likes to collect flowers and then place them on herself to make herself even prettier than she already is. She is just a showstopper. Am I right? Yes, I'm right. I hope you've enjoyed the making of Myrtle the Turtle today, and I look forward to seeing you here next time on the Rumi Mill. Bye!